Alright, when you're ready, mate.
Oh, we're here with Jimmy Broadbent.
Oh, yeah.
Sim racer, YouTube star, racing driver. Which one are we talking to today?
I mean, YouTube star's a bit of a push, I think, but I like to think you're talking to the racing driver today. I'm not sure the sim racing mentality would work as well here, so definitely a racing driver today.
And we'll start with the sim racing. During the COVID lockdowns, obviously sim racing has become huge. Loads of people are taking part in it, even drivers such as like Lando Norris and things like that. How did you get involved with it?
I think just because I've been sim racing for such a long time on YouTube that they sort of go, oh, that guy, we'll bring him into our races and it'll be good to sort of put him against the other drivers. So it was really fun. I actually got to race against Lando and he wrecked me. So that's my experience of racing Lando Norris.
And the sim racing now, I mean, everyone thinks it's just on computers, but it's actually taken very seriously. There's some really fancy kits being built and things like that. Have you got a fancy rig yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I've actually got a rig that simulates this car specifically, so the brake pressures and how the throttle feels and all that stuff and how the travel is. I use it to prepare for these races, and it's such an asset to training that I'd recommend it to anyone who's doing anything like this, 100%.
And of course, we've said you are a highly successful YouTuber, 700,000 subscribers plus. And the channel was created for the sim racing, I believe.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, 5-6 years ago, I'd never been anywhere near a car at all. In fact, my first motorsport event was, I think, just before my 27th birthday, and now just before my 30th birthday, I'm here racing at Oulton Park. So it's a pretty rapid turnaround from just sim racing.
And myself, I've subscribed to the channel and watched some of your content.
Oh, thank you.
One of the things I've picked up from that is you like to have a laugh. It's all about the fun.
Yeah, definitely. I think that people can take racing a bit too seriously sometimes. You know, ultimately, you know, it is a sport, but we do it because we like it and we're passionate about it. And that extends to sim racing as well. You know, it's you can have a 24-hour race, but it's nothing saying you can't have a bit of fun along the way. So I think that's very important to sort of keep that in the back of your mind when you're driving.
And I believe your setup's even in the mum's shed at the bottom of the garden.
It was, yeah, until very recently. I was living with mum and took over some of her land. She didn't like that too much. Recently moved into my own place now, but for the last 4 or 5 years I've been in there basically producing content and racing out of a room no bigger than a prison cell, I think it's fair to say.
And I've heard you've also got a story about an incident with Emerson Fittipaldi, no less.
Oh yeah, so we did a charity race. It was during lockdown, and Emerson Fittipaldi was racing, which is already amazing, getting to be in the same circuit as such a legend. And I came across him to overtake him, and I thought, okay, whatever you do, don't crash into him, it will be terrible. And then he lifted in a place I didn't expect to lift. I went straight into the back of him, sent him off the course. And I thought, oh no, he's going to come and break my legs now, isn't he? But then I got a phone call like about an hour later, a complete anonymous number. And it's Emerson Fittipaldi. He rings up to say, oh, sorry that I was slow. So to have someone like that ring you and apologise for being slow was very surreal, because I was just sitting there in my pyjamas. It's a very weird experience, but what a humble guy, what an amazing guy.
Yeah, experiences like that, they don't come along often, do they?
Not at all.
So what made you decide that you were going to take up real world racing, and a Praga at that?
Well, really, it was just the opportunity sort of presented itself. I always wanted to try and get onto circuit eventually, because that's, you know, sort of a natural progression, I think, from what you're doing, go to sim to get into a real car. But I had a phone call sort of last May from Mark, the MD here, saying, I fancy drive one of our cars next year. And I'll say the nice version. I said, yes, please. And I think I spent the last the 8 months or so before getting in the car just shaking and basically being super apprehensive about getting in it. But as soon as I got in the car, you can feel just how compliant it is, how easy and approachable it is. And I think it's a testament that someone like me with no experience can get in it and be on the pace. So, yeah, awesome car.
Yeah, because I believe like up to 2 months ago you'd never even raced at all, had you?
No, I mean, I did my licences. I think we finished the licence requirements for this about a week before the first race at Silverstone. So, yeah, until then, nothing. So,
making the transition from your racing sim to a real car, how have you prepared yourself both physically and mentally for this?
Physically, I mean, you have to do something. I used to think that it'll be okay, but the main things are your neck, of course, and this G-force. You're putting on the right setup in the right corner. You can pull 3G in this thing, which is 3 times your head weight put it on your neck, which might not sound like much, but basically get your good mate to pull your neck to one side for a bit to see what it's like. Same with your arms as well. We've got no power steering in this thing, so on the bottom corner is a long right-hander. The hairpin down there, it can really hurt your arms, so you've got to make sure you work on those things before you get in the car, otherwise it'll ruin you.
And you have a very talented teammate in Jem Hepworth. She won the title in a debut series at 19 years old.
Yeah, I know.
Any tips?
Oh yeah, so it's no pressure for me, was there, jumping in, but she's been really good so far, especially in changeable conditions. They're the things that as a sim racer you don't really experience that much, so having her insight on sort of where I should be on the circuit and what I should do has been pretty invaluable. So yeah, I mean I'm quite glad that I got teamed up with a champion, because then makes me look better.
And we're now on the third round. Has it got easier as you've gone on?
Easier isn't the right word. I think I've got more used to it and sort of understanding what the potential of the car is and how it works properly. Especially aero is a bit of a dark art, I think, so you have to, once you sort of learn what the car does and have the confidence in it, it's fine. I mean, the little kink before the hairpin for us is to blend in fifth gear, we don't brake, and to sort of work up to that, your brain's saying no, brake, and you have to say no, shut up, it's fine. So getting by that is a bit difficult, but it's definitely possible.
And you're bringing in a large audience now to the live streams. Obviously the people are interested in the following. Does this add extra pressure to you though?
You know what, I'm going to give I guess it was a boring answer and say not really, because I'm so used to having this audience now on in the sim stuff. I mean, sometimes I think during one of the virtual GPs where they concur and there's got nearly 30,000 people watching, which is mad. I don't understand how that happens still. But in the car it's actually quite quiet in a weird way, because you don't have all the chat there, you don't got any of the notifications going off, it's just driving around and focusing on your own thing, so you don't really feel it until maybe afterwards, but I don't think so, not really.
And realistically, what are you looking to achieve this season? What are your expectations?
I think we'd love to get on the podium at some point. You know, the Praga class is full of some really, really fast drivers, and you know, some of us are driving for the first time. You know, Jay Morton as well is his first time driving. He's coming along well, but I think it'd be great to get a podium. But I think that also that means we've got to have a perfect race, and that's what we're sort of working towards slowly. Silverstone was okay. Snetterton was the drive race was nice, and you know I think this one we've both done really well in testing, so we're going to try and carry that into the race and yeah, aim for that podium.
And finally, from me, you're living a lot of people's dream. Will there ever come a day where you get out of that car without a smile a mile wide?
Every time I come to the circuit and I have the ticket that says competitor ticket on it, I have to look at it and go, really, is this actually me? You know, and every time I see the car I think, oh, I'm driving that, oh dear, you know, and there's still that level of apprehension still, but as soon as you're suited and you're in there, the helmet's on, you're in a different world, and so that sort of stuff thankfully sort of takes a sideline, because I think it would be too difficult to focus otherwise, but every day I know how lucky I am, how privileged I am to be in this position, so I'm just hoping to enjoy it for as long as I can.
Well, thank you very much for your time and good luck for today.
Thank you, mate.